One of the biggest obstacles in starting a new project is the cost. Time and again, I hear you in my audience talking about how expensive wood can be. And I can remember delaying many of my own projects simply because once I added up the cost of the materials, it just didn't seem worth it anymore. So today I want to talk about where you may get low cost or even free wood for your next project. Well, I'm sure you've heard of some of these sources before. Stick with me until the end, because you are definitely going to learn about some sources that you never thought of. Firewood is an excellent source of lumber because its price per board foot is shockingly low, even free if you find someone that's cutting down a tree and just wants some of the wood hauled away. It's especially nice because you can control how it's cut and thereby choose the grain pattern, such as straight quarter sawn grain or cathedral-like flat sawn grain. And you get to choose the thickness of your workpieces, so you can make specific projects that might require larger chunks of wood than you otherwise would have. You can cut firewood by hand with the saw, or you could use a bandsaw or a chainsaw with the jig. If the grain is straight, you can even split it into rough boards with the wedge. It's ideal for smaller projects. I've made some beautiful boxes with firewood. You can find some really stunning beauty inside what appeared at first to be just useless trash. But there are some downsides. If the wood is unseasoned, you'll have to give your new boards about a year per inch of thickness to dry, and they may check or split at the ends with that time, and that could be a problem because often the chunks are pretty short to begin with. There may also be insect damage inside the logs. So all of this can add up to a great deal of waste, but the low cost will likely justify that. If you don't mind digging through someone else's trash, you can find a lot of free usable wood on trash day. Look for discarded boards or shelving. You'll be surprised what people will set by the road because they just want it out of their garage. Even old discarded pieces of furniture can yield usable wood if you're willing to tear it apart. If you're really not shy, you may try dumpster diving. In time, you'll learn what dumpsters are more likely to yield good wood based upon the type of business it services. The dumpsters behind cabinet shops are particularly nice. Those behind restaurants and grocery stores, not so much. Just make sure you're not going to get in trouble for trespassing on private property. Of course, if you can stand the smell, the local landfill is often full of opportunities for free wood. You just have to want it badly enough. Construction sites can be a great place to get free lumber, especially small sheet goods. Depending on what they're building and what stage of the process they're in, you may also find hardwood trim and cutoffs from other high-quality boards. This is true both of residential and commercial construction sites. But don't just drive up to a job site and start taking stuff without asking or wander into the middle of a dangerous work area. And don't trespass after hours. You can wind up in big trouble. Just ask permission and be polite. Generally, if it's in a trash bin, they're going to let you have it because they'll have to pay to dispose of that anyway. In time, you might get on friendly terms with different crews, and they may even set the best pieces aside for you. Even if they're reluctant to part with scraps from their good materials, they will almost always let you salvage some of the debris from the demolition work. Some of the best salvaged wood comes from old buildings that are being remodeled. You might get nice, clear, old-growth beams or flooring that's not only beautiful, but also full of history. Palletwood projects have been trendy for a while, mostly because palletwood is cheap or even free. You can find pallets discarded on trash day. You can ask local businesses if they have any that you can haul away. Some places that get a lot of deliveries may practically beg you to take their pallets. Unfortunately, with pallets, you never know what you're going to get. Many are made from the worst boards in the tree, but occasionally you get really good stuff. So look for pallets that are clean and really heavy. I've seen some made from walnut or even exotic hardwoods. This can also be regional. If you find good hardwood in pallets somewhere, go back. They may get more pallets from the same miller in their next delivery. The greatest downside of palletwood is all the labor it takes to turn it into usable boards, including tearing or cutting it apart and removing nails. You should invest in a handheld metal detector so a hidden fastener doesn't ruin your day. And bear in mind that some pallets may have been used to store toxic chemicals. So if it smells weird or it has a lot of liquid stains on it, you might want to pass. You'd be surprised at how many people have piles of boards that they've been drying in their barns or garages ever since a buddy with a portable sawmill helped them cut up a fallen tree years ago. Now, having never used it, They just want it out of the way. And if you can buy a lot at once, you might get a really good deal. I bought a lot this way myself. You'll find these stashes advertised on sites such as Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Just search for lumber or slabs or any other terms you think someone might be using in such a listing. Be sure to ask how long it's been drying so you don't get a bunch of green wood, and don't pay until you've got it all loaded up in case you find that the middle of the pile is all rotten. Also remember, you aren't buying from a professional hardwood dealer. People who slab up their own trees sometimes don't know what they're doing, and you'll definitely have a lot of waste, perhaps as much as 30 or 40%, so pay accordingly. eBay can be a source for small boards, particularly highly figured or exotic woods. Often, they can be overpriced, but you can find deals if you look hard enough. I've bought some really nice veneers for dirt cheap prices on eBay. By the way, you can save search terms on some of these sites so that you get a notification whenever new relevant listings pop up. Often it's the early woodworker who gets the deal. I've bought quite a bit of lumber from yard sales. Sometimes it's just a few boards that someone had left over from a project and they just want them out of the way. Other times it's a pile of rough sawn lumber out in the back. The nice thing about yard sales is folks are often willing to negotiate. And if they have wood, they may also have some tools that you want. You might be able to put together a package deal. Rural sales are always the best, especially if they're calling it a barn sale or an estate sale. But you'd better show up early on the first day of the sale or the good stuff is probably going to be gone. As for the downsides of yard sale lumber, they're pretty much the same as the online lumber I talked about before. If you live in the suburbs, you may find slim pickings for wood at garage sales and the like, but many neighborhoods have internal email lists or private Facebook groups where people can advertise things they wish to sell or give away, including excess lumber left over from home improvement or other projects, or even old furniture that can be salvaged for materials. Usually you have to live in that neighborhood to get on the list, but you might also ask friends and family members to monitor any groups that they might be part of. Like yard sales, thrift stores often contain old furniture that might be salvaged for wood, but I want to advise a little caution in this case. Thrift stores are specifically set up to cater to the poor. Often the items in these stores are donated for that purpose. Sometimes it's clearly trash with no value other than for the lumber. But if it's a serviceable piece of furniture, you may not want to deprive someone else of something that they may truly need just so you can tear it up for the wood. I recommend asking an employee if the item has been sitting there a while. They may tell you it's drawn very little interest, and they might be eager to get it out of the shop to make room for something else. While most of the wood at home centers is pretty expensive these days, many of them have clearance areas where they pile materials that aren't fit for selling at full price. They may be damaged boards or special order items that were returned or nobody picked up. There may even be open packs of material with some pieces missing. These clearance materials can sometimes be had for a small fraction of the regular prices, and they may yield a lot of good wood once you cut around the damaged areas. The problem is often finding the clearance stuff. It's not always stored where you think it should be, so just ask an employee. They'll show you the way. Pretty much every rural area will have some sort of local sawyer. It may be a guy with a wood miser who's selling boards he cuts from trees that come down in storms. It may be a larger operation that gets logs from tree services and stocks various hardwoods at considerably lower prices than lumber yards. Sometimes these guys advertise. You may even find them on the same internet sources I mentioned before. But often they do business through word of mouth, and you have to sort of know someone who can give you an introduction. Don't just ask the first woodworker you meet where he gets his lumber and expect him to tell you. Folks tend to protect their sources. Try getting breakfast at restaurants where contractors gather early in the morning and make friends. Or the bar, if you're into that scene. Join local woodworking guilds and make friends there. Take the time to build relationships within these communities of builders and carpenters and cabinet makers. It may pay off big when they let you in. Large sawmills aren't in the business of giving away lumber, but that doesn't mean they won't do it. For example, sometimes they trim the ends off boards to make them all a standard length, or because there was a knot or some other blemish. Those cutoffs can be up to 2 feet long and perfectly usable for small projects. Often someone at the mill is taking that stuff home for firewood, but it's worth asking just in case it goes unclaimed. And you may even be able to make a deal with whoever has laid claim to it. I once bought about 3 cords of milled walnut and maple cutoffs for the price of firewood. If you're lucky, You may even get spalted wood that the mill considers to be trash, but a woodworker like you might consider to be a treasure. Keep in mind that nothing in life is truly free. If you wish to save money, you'll need to spend effort searching for low-cost materials or working to make them usable. Some people argue that time is money, so are you really saving that much? Well, that might be true for some folks, but not for everyone, because time is only worth money if someone is paying you for that time. I know few people who are paid for every waking hour. If you have some spare time on your hands, you may try some of these ways to save some money on the wood for your next project. In the meantime, here's something else that'll help out your woodworking game. The M-Power SBS sharpening station is an idea that was 4 years in the making, designed to provide everything you need right in one place so you can sharpen and strop your tools quickly and get right back to work. It begins with 3 diamond plates. There's 300, 600, and 1200 grit. After sharpening, you pop back on the magnetic stropping plates, which are color-coded to accept 3 levels of honing compound, including 1800, 2500, and 5000. When your tool's razor sharp, everything, including the compound sticks, the lapping fluid, it all goes back in the case. I like the simplicity of it. No more hunting around the shop for what you need. It is all in one place. In fact, I think it'll be just the thing to take with me when I travel. I like to carve when I'm on the road. If you're looking for a new system or a second one for working outside the shop, the M-Power SBS system is something you should at least take a look at.